Hello, guys. Today we're going to talk about long-term care insurance. Now, I'm 62, so I'm thinking about this, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking about it also. Some of you maybe haven't even considered long-term care insurance because you have no idea what it is. Today I'm going to go over a couple of things about what long-term care insurance is, what it covers, when should you consider it. Um, so it's going to be a kind of a conversation about whether you think it's worth it or not. Okay, all right. So let's go into a couple of things. Couple of things to consider. If you've got assets if you've got money, if you've got some money, you've got some assets, and you don't want to deplete those assets to take care of yourself, or pay for care for yourself when you get to be elderly and just need a little help. Um, that's one reason you will consider long-term care insurance. Now, if you have no assets, if you're pretty much once you're elderly, your income diminishes, you deplete your assets, and you know you won't have a lot of anything, you won't have a lot of resources, then Medicaid will probably be there to assist. And I say probably, so you got to think about that. Probably be there to assist. But if you're between 50 and 65, this is something you probably should start to think about. Long-term care, if you think about in-home care, if you think about facility care or some support services, like adult daycare centers, hospice, respite care, activities of daily living. If listen, you're not really at the point where you need to be hospitalized, okay? You're older. You're 60, 70, 75, 80 years old, and you just need some assistance. You need cooking, helping with cooking, cleaning, shopping, bathing, maybe walking, different things like that. And think about the reason I'm thinking about it is because I would like the independence of saying, we have no children. So I like to be able to say, okay, if it's my wife and I, so if one of us gets to the point where it's assistance is needed, then we have the resources to pay for that. We can pay to have someone come in a couple of days a week, cook for us, clean for us, keep the place clean. I mean, you don't know right now unless you've gotten to that point. Now I've seen it with elderly people. We've gone into homes and it's just not clean. You have sight issues. So just even with technology, you want to be able to have the resources to pay for someone to come in to assist you with those things so you have a comfortable life. Okay? So when do you buy long-term care? You think about long-term care when you can afford, if you can afford to pay a couple of $100 a month without changing your lifestyle. Okay? If you can afford that now while you're healthy, then my suggestion would be to look into a long-term care insurance policy. Now, there's a lot of nuances with different long-term care policies, so you have to look at the specifics of each one of them. But you figure 70 to 80% of people will need some sort of assistance, and usually you're looking at probably $75,000 to $100,000 annually. Okay, so think about that. If you don't have some sort of backup, and I'm big on backup, if you don't have some sort of backup to assist you with those types of things, where are those resources going to come from? And even if you have children, why would you want to burden your children with having to? Now, what you could do is, though, you could kind of pool resources with your children now while you're healthy to start to pay for long-term care so that they don't have to physically or actually have to do it later. So that's an idea to talk to the kids, if you've got kids, to start to think about, okay, well, let's get a long-term care policy for mom and dad, so that, later on they have that, and all we have to do, we have a team in place. We can call them when mom needs help, dad needs help, mom needs help with dad. Then we have a team in place. We can call them. The long-term care policy coverage kicks in, and that's ease. My wife and I, we were in the home care business, and the reason we're not in the home care business right now is not that there isn't a need for the home care business, for activities of daily living, for elderly people that can barely walk, can't cook for themselves, can't bathe, can't grocery shop. There's a lot of things, can't work with technology. There's a lot of things that they can't do. So there's a need for it. But here's the thing, they couldn't pay for it. They can't pay for it. Medicare doesn't pay for it. Medicare doesn't pay for a lot of things that are just activities of daily living. Okay? Now, Medicaid may have some assistance. Someone may come in once or twice a week to take care of if there's some sort of illness that you have. Okay? Now, if you can't walk, if you've got something that the doctors and that a doctor has declared that you need help with, okay, a nurse or a nurse's aide or someone may come in. But a lot of those things, it gets complicated, because a lot of those things are not, a lot of the things just simply aging daily living activities that you can't do anymore because you're just older. A lot of that gets complicated because you don't know what covers what. So you get a policy that actually covers that. So that when I talk about long-term care, I talk about the things that Medicare, Medicaid probably won't cover. Okay, so and these are not medically necessary things. Okay, and I can go into more detail with you on those things, and you want to be detailed in your long-term care policy about those things. But if you can afford to, without diminishing your lifestyle, or without causing your lifestyle to change in an uncomfortable way, then I think a long-term care policy is probably something you need to look at and actually seriously consider. Like I said, with your kids and yourself, get together, pool some resources, and actually look at doing this. There's actually life insurance policies that you can add riders that would include long-term care. So if you're considering your younger 40s and you're considering life insurance, then life insurance, in addition to disability and chronic or terminal illness, it can also add long-term care. So that's what you want to talk to someone about, your financial advisor, someone about that, so that you can feel comfortable in aging and say, I'm pretty healthy as far as medically, but I can barely see. To be able to cook for myself, be able to make sure I can barely walk. I can't clean. I like my place clean. I want to live at home. I want to have care at home. So I would like to have someone come in a couple of days a week and clean for me. Maybe grocery shop. Take me grocery shopping. Have someone that can, if I have issues with some technology, I like to use the computer. I write. There's things I would like to do that I need a little assistance with, that I would not have to call my children, my grandchildren to do this. Okay? I can actually pay for it on my own. So that's what long-term care insurance policy will cover. And there's all kinds of things. There's elimination periods, there's exclusions, So you want to consider this sooner rather than later. Okay. And like I said, if it causes you to have hardship, financial hardship, then this is probably not something that you can do. But there are options. Like I said, you can pool resources with your children, and maybe this is something that you should have a family conversation about. Okay, so in conclusion, I guess close to conclusion, would I consider? Do I consider long-term care, a long-term care policy, worth you considering, worth you looking into, doing research on? Yes, I absolutely do. Okay, with the caveats is that, and not really, even if you feel like you can't afford it and it's something you want to do, you'd like to consider, you'd like to take a look at, then I'm going to leave some information in the description for you to take a look at. There are different companies that offer long-term care coverage in different ways. Okay, some traditional ways, some non-traditional ways, some that may work for you. Okay, and I do the research on this stuff a lot. So if there are any questions that you have that you feel like are not answered, and you want to bring the family in, you want to have a family member, call someone, talk to me, talk to someone you trust, and talk about this, and then like I said, I'll leave some information in the comments, in the description for you. You can click on that, click on my website. I'm in the insurance business, so I've sold insurance for 25 years. So this stuff is what I do. And there's a lot of people that are good at this, and they can actually walk you through, help you with this stuff. My services are free to you. The consultations are free. So, and there's a lot of people, a lot of resources that we can bring to bear that would help you in considering something like this. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm 62, and of course, this is something that I'm thinking about right now, personally, for my wife and I, because we have no children. So we would have, the only way we get these types of services, we pay for it. Okay, so we have to consider this, and we have to consider that the budget for it, to make sure that we can afford it. So if you are thinking about something like this, and I think you should be thinking about this, if you're 50 to 65, you're pretty healthy, that's the best time to think about doing or looking at a long-term care coverage policy. So yes, I say, is it worth it? If you're asking, yes, it is. So if you're thinking about it, like I said, there's a lot of resources, a lot of people out there that are there to help you with this. If there are any other questions that you have that you feel like have not been answered by anyone, then you can certainly contact me. My information will be in the description, and I will certainly give you as much information as I've collected on the companies that offer long-term care coverage, what they offer, what their terms are, or the alternative or the non-traditional companies that offer long-term care. We have all of those. We'd be glad to talk to you. You have a great day, and we'll see you guys on the next video.